Hey everybody. Breath check. All right. It's Josh Funk here. Another episode of Funk and Friends. Today I've got my friend Jamilah Thompkins-Bigelow, author of Your Name is a Song, joining. And I'm very, very excited to talk to her. This is, I'll just say it. It's my favorite picture book of the year so far. Jamilah will be here in just a second, and we're going to have a little fun. I'm going to ask her some questions, chat, see how she's doing, see what she's up to, and have a nice little time. Instagram slowly, eventually notifies everybody that I'm live, and I'm sure she'll join any second. And hello, I have a book for that. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining today. Welcome to the 6th episode of Funk and Friends, the end of week 2 of this little experiment that I'm doing. Hey, how's it going? I am doing very well. There's Jamilah. Yes. Okay, here we go. So, Jamilah will be here, and let me guess. I'm going to count to 3. 3, 2, 1. Oh, I was off, huh? I'm going to try again. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I can count. All right, well, she'll be here in a second. This book is called Your Name is a Song, and it is about a little girl, and I'm not going to tell you her name because it's sort of a little spoiler. But it is about, well, you know what? Maybe I'll let Jamilah explain it when she joins, because she might do better. I'm going to cancel this. And Jamilah, if you're watching, feel free to do the join thing. And I see, requests. Yes, add. I don't know why that didn't work. Okay. Let's try it now. Yes, it is amazing, Ashley Franklin. There you are. How's it going? I think that it was like those old call waiting things. Like I pushed join, like invite, while you pushed join, and neither one got through or something. How are you doing, Jamilah? How's it going?
I'm good. This is my first time ever doing Instagram Live, so I was totally lost. It was probably me.
No. Instagram Live, you're fine. You're fine. You know, everyone, it's weird. Everyone's like, I wasn't late. I was there. I was trying. And I'm like, no, this always happens. But yeah, welcome. Instagram Live is super fun. I don't know. I get to chat with people and catch up and stuff. But I was just talking about your book here. You are the author. This is the second picture book that you've published, at least. But I know you've been a part of an anthology in addition to that. Sorry, I just slammed my desk. Did you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself, and then tell us maybe a little bit about this book, because it's super exciting.
Okay, so I'm Jamilah Thompkins-Bigelow, and I am a picture book author, and also I do a little bit of MG. I'm trying to push more into that world. And I'm a longtime educator. I've taught writing to youth for many, many years, and I do even some anti-racism education. And my book, Your Name is a Song, is a picture book that starts at the end of a young girl's day where she's very upset because no one could say her name correctly. And in fact, people insulted her name throughout the day. So the book is about her, really is kind of a walk home when her mother tries to help her to feel more confident, empowered about her name and other people's names, right? Different kinds of names, so that she can feel more confident of returning to school the next day and knowing that names are songs.
Yeah. So this book's awesome. I accidentally tweeted out the cover like a day before you were going to announce that it was coming out sooner. And so can you tell me a little bit about the publishing process? Because originally it was one time, and it's a bit of a roller coaster, it seems like, for you, that the releasing of this book.
Yeah, it was not typical. So back in March, the publisher told me that they felt it would be best to delay it because it's a small independent publisher, the Innovation Press. They put out great books, and you know, they just didn't, they felt like they would not have the ability to push it. We couldn't go to any conventions or conferences. And
When was it originally scheduled to be released?
same day,
July
July
7th. Okay.
July 7th.
Okay, so it was originally supposed to be July 7th.
It was originally supposed to be July 7th, and the publisher should just, they just felt like, oh, this book will get buried, and they really wanted it to do well. They wanted to get a lot of attention, and they felt like with the pandemic that people wouldn't be paying attention to books and wouldn't be caring, and that didn't end up being the case. And they just felt like there was just such a demand for the book, an interest in the book, and they just said, you know what? Let's see if we can do this. And then it came out, you know, so.
It was, it must have been disappointing to find out that it was just kind of delayed indefinitely. Like, we don't know exactly when because of the pandemic. But then you only had how many weeks before they changed their mind and said, you know what? I think that this book is more important than ever right now. Let's put it out.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3.
Okay. So it was mid-June when they said, you know, we've got the books, they're printed, they're in warehouses, they're on their way to warehouses or something, but we're gonna put it out. Because so I know Asia Citro is the editor and a lot of other things, and the publisher, I guess, at Innovation Press. She's also an author. She writes, what is her chapter book series? I'm blanking right now.
Zoe and Sassafras.
Yes, there you go. Thank you. I could picture the illustrations. And those are very popular. And she actually messaged me. She said, you know, do you know, would you mind sharing it? And I was like, dude, I already pre-ordered it. The day that I tweeted out your book, it was in the databases already, but it wasn't like you hadn't officially announced that it was coming out. And I was super excited about it because we were on a panel together last year at NCTE. And in Baltimore. And we also got to do a signing together, which was along with, I need to do my research better for these things. But with Laura, what was her last name?
Murray.
Okay, Laura Murray. Yeah. Because you know why I have issues with her name? It's because Laura Murray, but then there's like her Facebook, she has another name in there, and then I get confused with people. Mm-hmm. But so names are a problem for me. But names are important. And I think that's maybe one of the things that I love about this book is it does stress something that I struggle with, and you know, a lot of people that are white and have white privilege that do struggle with. But and I love that the way that you approached it with the teacher. She was the main culprit, or one of them, and you know, it didn't come across as you know, like saying anything bad about teachers. This is a thing that happens. My wife is a teacher. She has been through, there's a specific training video that they watched every year that was essentially this situation. And it was always like, unfortunately, like divisive in her classes, in like where people didn't necessarily understand that it's okay, that it's not okay to do what the teacher did in this situation, that everyone's name is important. Everyone's name deserves to be known and spoken correctly. And if somebody says it wrong, and I want you to, you know, say this to me, if I say your name wrong or if I pronounce anyone's name wrong. Last night or 2 nights ago, I was talking to Debbie Owie, and Debbie Ridpath Owie is her published name, but we all call her Debbie. And so, and we were talking about how Linda Sue Park wrote Gerpel and Preen, which is her broken crayon book that's coming out next month. And I said Linda, and she corrected me. Her name is Linda Sue, and her last name is Park. And I called her Linda, which is not her name. But tell me, you know, I want to learn, I want to do it better. But this book is brilliant. It's wonderfully illustrated. Luisa Uribe's art is great, but it's one of those books that's more. The writing is what I love about it. Because it's not like there are some books that I'm just like, I'm really proud to know you as a writer, because this is a really cool book that isn't like any other book. There are no books like this, and it's an important book. The way that you phonetically spelled all of the names of many different names that the mother in the book shared with their daughter, and made it easy enough for us to, any reader to read. You know, Juana is spelled, you know, you can pronounce it with a HwahnaH, and I loved, and it was funny, but the same thing with Ms. Anderson, the way that you spelled that, and Bob was great. Those are hilarious. And, but it was, I don't know, it's brilliant. I don't know, that's not really a question, but I did want to ask, how did you, how did you decide on which names to put in this book? And were there some names that got cut that you want to share while we're here, if at all?
Wow. Yeah, it was tricky. So I did rely more on names I was familiar with because I didn't want to mess up, or names from cultures that I was more familiar with because I didn't want to mess up names because then that would.
But you went pretty broad. There's a lot of cultures in here.
I did. But if you notice, there's a little bit more. So you'll see a lot of African American names, African names, Middle Eastern, which kind of comes from like, you know, they're used as Muslim names, you know, that I'm familiar with. I used a lot more of those. I dipped into those more because I just felt like, oh, I know these names. And then there were, you know, and then of course I wanted to try to get as much of a broad range as I could. And I went for meaning. So I would like look up names. I would research names I've heard of. Name research was so hard because like there are all these like cheesy websites.
Yeah.
Can't do it really online, like you.
All the baby websites, yeah.
And like even if they give you, but they would point me into a direction, so I'd be like, oh, this is a great baby name, and it says it means fire or whatever, right? And then you have to go and find other sources that actually support
to confirm it. Yeah. One of these was hilarious that I loved. Which one? And for some reason, a lot of them mean harp. That you had, or multiple, were like musical instrument. It was
just the two. So Kora Jali Muto and Kotone,
yeah. Well, they were right next to each other, so I was like, harp. Oh, they're all harp. But that's, I mean, that says something about names in general. But yeah. Were there any that you swapped in the last minute, or that you swapped out, or you had to cut it shorter? You know, picture books are short, so.
Yeah, I did. I'm just trying to remember which ones because it was such a long time ago and it was such a long process going through the names.
When did you start writing this book?
Oh God. 2017.
Okay. It's not that long. I mean.
Yeah, maybe it was 2017, 2016, something like that around there. I know that book took me a long.
Yeah. Most of my books take about 3 years. From the time when you think of the idea, because you don't sell it right away, and it's like 2 years from the time you sell it. So like if they're sequels, maybe they're less, but like every new book I have like is 3, sometimes even 4 years, for whatever reasons. But how did you get into writing in general?
I always kind of was a writer, like for fun, I guess. Like on my downtime, I didn't really think about like becoming a published children's book writer.
What did you write for fun? Like poems or songs?
Typically poems, or like, you know, journaling, or sometimes I would write stories. I have a lot of novels that I started and never finished. So I did that a lot. I still do that. And you know, I didn't really think about picture book writing for a long time. It just never crossed my mind, even though I love picture books. And then I was a high school English teacher and I was feeling burnt out and wanted to try something new. And I tried picture books and I couldn't believe how much I loved it. It shouldn't have been shocking. I loved reading them. I read them to my kids, but I loved them. I really loved writing picture books, and I had so many ideas. Like it was nonstop. Of different ones I wanted to do, and that's just how I got started. I started just like putting all my ideas down, then like learning how to write picture books, you know, doing research, reading books about picture books. I did like the 12 by 12 challenge, was so great. You know, and just reading lots and lots of picture books, so that I could really learn how to do it.
Cool. So you still are a high school English teacher?
No. So then I've gone like on a journey. So from there, so I was kind of a burnt out English teacher. So I should say that because I felt like the common things were like really kind of like limiting my creativity. I eventually started doing teaching in alternative programs. So I joined an organization called Mighty Writers, where we do like community writing programs for youth. And that is a lot more fun, a lot more creative. I can just do a lot of interesting things with writing and the kinds of instruction I do with youth. So that was kind of my path. I had to move into something else.
Wow, well, that's great. Well, I'm glad you're finding what you like to do, so that's important. I've seen you read books aloud, and you do a great presentation with, and we'll talk about it in a minute, Mommy's KHIMAR, which is one of my niece's favorite books. But do you sing this book when you read it out loud, or will you, I guess, when you have in-person visits and things like that?
So I will read expressively. And
okay.
Why is because I'm not the most musically inclined person. It's interesting. When I realized this book was coming out, actually Ashley Franklin Rice had these eyes out. Oh my gosh. But when I realized this book was about to launch, I was like, wow, I really set myself up with this book that is like all about singing, and I am not really someone who feels confident about singing in public. So how am I going to handle this? And so I've been practicing my expressive sing-song-like reading skills so that I can read.
Could you give us a taste of that?
This is not really fair.
All right, fine. I won't. We'll have to tune into your next streaming story time, whenever that is, okay? To find out, okay? So you have another book that is called Mommy's KHIMAR that my niece loves. It's one of her favorites. She just loves it. She did come to see you read it. Maybe that's partly why. And at the Ivy Bookshop in Baltimore. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that book? I don't have a copy because I gave it to her, but my niece. But do you, tell us a little bit about that and how that came to be.
Yeah, so Mommy's KHIMAR is a picture book about a little girl who plays pretend. And she plays pretend with her mother's headscarves. So the inspiration, I think, just came from me playing with my mom's headscarves when I was a kid. So
okay.
You can just play with these things, and they were fun. So I just wrote a story about that.
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful book illustrated by Ebony Glenn, and you got some awesome illustrators that you've been paired up with. Are you working on any other new stories? Do you have anything else in the pipeline?
Yeah, one that's announced. Abdul's story is coming out in 2021, so I'm excited about that one.
What is it about?
It's about a little boy who is he's ashamed of the way that he writes. He's like embarrassed of his handwriting and the spelling problems. So to write them during writing time in class, because so he's always just like kind of erasing his work and not wanting to show his work. So he has to tell his own story. So that's why it's called Abdul's story. So it's really exciting. It's a Salam Reese book. So really
fantastic.
Excited about that.
Is that SNS?
Yes, SNS. That's the imprint that does. It's Tiffany Rose, who did M is for Melanin. So
really nice. Cool. I love that book. So you, I wanted to ask you, let's see, all the questions that I had. Oh, so you're an educator. Yeah. I also wanted to ask you if you had any books that you're really into right now. You don't have to have them on hand, but books that you're really excited about. I mean, this is the book that I'm sharing with everybody right now. But if you have others that you're into that you wanted to share with anyone who's watching, and this will go up on YouTube and other things later. So other people, even if they're not watching now, will see it. So.
Okay. Well, I actually pulled out books because I knew.
Awesome.
And every time people ask me this question, I blank, and I have no idea why. But I pulled out a few that I'm really excited about. It just came out. So I just got this one. This one's really, really good. It's called A Place Inside of Me, and it's by Zetta. And it just kind of goes through like different feelings and emotions that you know, a child would feel.
You're the second person that's recommended it on this show, and this is only the 6th episode.
Definitely Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, so I was going to say you're the second person to recommend this book.
It's so good.
Yeah. Sharnae Gordon, Here We Read, said that that's her favorite book she's read this year. So, yeah, good choice. I got to check that one out. It just came out this week, right? On Tuesday, I think.
Yeah, so I just got it. I just read it, and I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. It's just really beautifully evocative. Yeah. So it's just a good book. And then Hello, Little One, Monarch Butterfly Story is just out by Zena Pliska, which is a debut author, and it's illustrated by Fiona Holliday, who I really like. She's just a really great person. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful, just visually beautiful, a poignant story. It's just about like the life cycle, really, like, you know, dealing with grief. So it's a way to kind of talk to kids about, you know, the way that, you know, we grow up and we lose people, because the older butterfly ends up, you know, kind of disappearing once the young butterfly is out of its cocoon, but in a really gentle way, in a really poignant way. And then just the art is just breathtaking.
It looks like a photograph.
This one, so that was
it looks like a photograph from here, almost.
It's all like, yeah, it's realistic. It's really realistic, and until it's not, and in a very cool way.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Those are great suggestions. I will definitely check them out. So I have this this hat where I take random questions from a hat, and I'm going to ask you 5 random questions. All right? And unrelated to anything. Are you ready for random questions from a hat? Because I wear hats. Okay, so close my eyes and pick. No, they are random. Okay.
Not real.
Well, they're questions that I came up with, and I just threw them in a hat. What was the first movie you ever saw in a theater? Or that you think you remember?
No idea.
Really?
I feel like it has to be something Disney, like maybe Little Mermaid or something like that.
Okay, I saw. This is a 2-part question because it also has. I think mine was Sleeping Beauty that I can remember. Like I don't know if it was like I vividly remember going to see it with my grandfather, and it was when the Celtics were in the NBA finals. And they won the finals like while we were in the theater because he was asking about it. What is the last movie you saw in a theater?
Oh my God, because it's like been forever since we've been like. But oh my, so this is kind of embarrassing, but I feel like it would probably be Black Panther.
Okay.
I feel like that was the last time. Like, I have to really have a good reason to go to a movie theater. I usually like to wait for it, and then like it's been so long since it's even been available.
Okay. I mean, that's a good one to have as the last one. So. All right, let's see. What's the next one? Okay. Did you watch Sesame Street as a kid? And who was your favorite character if you did?
To the point where my mom actually told me at one point, I was like 9 years old, that you're too old to watch the show. And I kept watching it. And I think, she was like, you're getting too old for this show. And I was like I love this show. But anyway, Bert and Ernie, probably. They're a package deal. But
Oh, yeah. But which one do you like more, though, really? Yeah, you know what? I can't decide. I'm like half of each. I'm not sure if I could decide which of the 2 of them. I was all about Big Bird. Like Big Bird was like my best friend. I love Big Bird. So yeah, and it was still back in the day where Snuffleupagus, you couldn't see him. So like that was yeah, I don't know. I was obsessed with Big Bird, I think. And then eventually I switched over to Miss Piggy, which I know is not, it's the Muppets and not, but yeah, I had a thing for Miss Piggy. Okay. Oh, pick a number between 10 and 100.
99.
Really? Okay. See, I feel like these are the kind of questions that like give us a sense of some. I don't know what that says about you, but it says something about you. I don't know what, but like we can make judgments about your character and learn about you based on you chose not like you didn't chose like if you chose 47, maybe there was like, oh, you like prime numbers, or but 99, you're like, no, I don't want to be the best, but I want to be like basically the best. That's what I'm learning about you. So, all right. And let's see, last question. No, that one's off for you. Oh, do unicorns neigh? There we go. Do unicorns neigh? They don't neigh. Okay, you sure? Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for bearing with me through the technical difficulties, and I'm really sorry, but I'm really excited. Everyone should follow Jamilah Thompkins-Bigelow on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll post all that. Everyone, buy Your Name Is a Song. Everyone should own a copy of this book and give this book as gifts to your new teachers to start the year. Give this book as baby shower gifts. Everyone should own a copy of this book. This book is amazing, and thank you so much for joining me. And I hope you have a great rest of your evening. And hopefully we'll cross paths in real life again sometime soon. So. Thank you so much. Bye.